Hello, and my name is Morrell, and I'm the author of Online Dating for the Nervous. A little bit about me. I come from Brighton, which is down on the south coast near London in the UK. And as you can see behind me, I live very close to the sea. And I find that very inspiring as well. I might spend a little bit too much time looking out at it sometimes, but I do find that it inspires my writing, and certainly when I'm just struggling a little bit again, it helps me. So this has been really, really useful to me, and it's been a real inspiration. Okay, like many people, particularly a lot of friends who I know, many of us got married when we were younger, and then things didn't quite work out, and we find ourselves later in life having to find another partner. So it was a little bit from personal experience, a lot from other people who told me this, and my partner, she said, you should write about this, Mark. So it was a combination of things. It wasn't anything that I read. It was just something that came, and she just said this to me, and it all just seemed to sort of click from there. And yeah, it sort of very, very quickly, I was able to start writing, and I was told by my partner that I should make it interesting, and her phrase was mess it up a bit. So this poor guy, Chris Davison, I wouldn't want to have his life at all, or his experiences, because of what I've done. But it was a combination of things, and obviously me taking bits of things that happened to somebody, put it into a different context, build another character into it, and this character sort of came along, and for 73 days you can follow his day-to-day adventures in the world of online dating. So that's really how it came about. It wasn't only one particular thing. Well, apart from obviously listening over some years to people talking about what had happened to them, and how they had found out. And that was both men and women who were telling me about this. I also looked at authors, and I tend to find for romance drama, romance comedy, as a genre, there aren't many men who tend to write this. I mean, there's Nicholas Sparks, and there's Nick Spalding, who are two that come to mind. So it was interesting to feel as if I wasn't necessarily following anyone's footsteps, with the greatest respect to Nicholas and to Nick and to all the other male authors. But there wasn't too much else out there for me to follow, and to research. It really came from my own memory, and lots of conversations with people that it all came together. I didn't really have one. In as much that I mean, I know from talking and from reading, some people, they will sit down from this time to that time in this space, and they will write, and they will carry on writing until they've done so many words. That's not me. If I'm in the mood, then I almost want to be unsociable. I don't want anyone to interrupt me. I don't want to know about anything at all. Don't want anything else. I just want to just write. And then the words will just flow from me, and I will write, several thousand words. Other times, I may not be able to write anything for a week to 2 weeks. And I guess because I've done a book a few years ago, I had the confidence that it would come back to me if I did leave it. And so my schedule is really around when I'm in the mood, and fortunately my lifestyle enables me to have that flexibility. Then if I'm in a creative mood, I more than make up for any period of time when I haven't been to write anything. I don't want to sort of spend my time not enjoying the writing. It's a passion. It's not. It's more than a hobby. But I want to enjoy it rather than find that was really hard work writing that book, Mark. Yeah, it's really hard work. I want to enjoy that part of it as well. So no, it's when I'm in the mood and being confident that I will be able to write. So I'm very fortunate. I know each author is will probably tell you a different answer. The first chapter. The first chapter. It's like I find with me, it's actually knowing how to start it. And so I wrote 2, maybe 3 chapters. I showed it to my daughter. I showed it to my partner. And each came back with different feedback, which said, no, you've got to start this again. It was like, and from that, I was able to then write the first chapter that I was more comfortable with, and also built on the feedback that they each give me. They each said different things, and I wasn't sure if it was right or not. And from that, the rest of the book flowed. So I think I need to have a good foundation. I can't just write a few pages that fit somewhere, a third of the way into the book or something like that. I need to write it all the way through as it flows. So, the first chapter was by far the hardest. After that, it really did flow pretty quickly and easily. The fictional character would be somebody called David Powlett-Jones, which will mean nothing to you, will mean nothing to lots of people. But he's the central character in a book called To Serve Them All My Days. It's a dated book. It was written in the early 60s, but it's about a man who, at the end of the First World War, I think 1918, he's invalided out of the army because of his injuries, and he goes to teach in a public school. And it's more just how the author develops the character and the problems he has. He's a socialist. He's working with a public school that's all where lots of private education is taking place. It's all those sort of conflicts and how he deals with those through the period up until the Second World War. I've got the TV series. I've read this several times. This is probably the book I've read the most, so I think this would be the one I'd choose. I have others, but it would be this character. So it was a Welsh teacher. Just the tonic I need after the turmoil of yesterday. Why am I seeing Jill? Why do I want to respond to Melanie? Why even see Brighton Lolly? Yeah, I've had lots of good advice about this. I think the main advice given to me just over a year ago by somebody called Paul Levy, who I used to work with, who's written many books, and he said basically, if you haven't written anything for a while, Mark, then don't worry. It will come back to you, and when it does, it will flow. It's what I've just said at the beginning of the interview. And I know him very well, and he knows me as well. So I trusted his judgment, and about a week later, I felt it flowing through to my fingers, and I started writing again. So his advice of believing in myself, having confidence that I can write, and that it will be good enough, is something that I uphold to. And one piece of many bits of advice. I'm somewhat of a reluctant author. If it wasn't for somebody I work with telling me that I should give away my intellectual property. I run a business. I'm giving away everything I know as a consultant because he said people will buy the book, but they won't read it. So they'll still ask you to come and do that because you've written a book. And I thought, that's bizarre, that logic. But I trusted it. So I guess that was another piece of advice that I had. But certainly I believe in myself, and I believe, having written 2 books, that I can write more. I can always write them better, I understand that. And just because I've written a book doesn't say people will want to read it. But I do have that confidence. I do believe in myself. I have it here. So it's The Body by Bill Bryson. I love the subjects he covers, both at travel or some other ones. I love the title, The Body, A Guide for Occupants. I mean, it's just the humour of it as well. But I've got this, read it. It's a brilliant book. I now know things about my body and yours and everybody else's I never would have known. And he puts it over in such an interesting way, a very technical, scientific subject. You know, anyone can read it and will find it interesting. You know, and I learned a lot from his technique as well. He's just wonderful with his humour, and he's just, oh, I wish I could write like him, but there we are. Yeah, that was the last book that I've read. Just finished it recently. Yeah, actually, I had to really think long and hard about this. So many to choose from. I read far too many detective thrillers, but I thought, no, you don't want to name one of those people. So there was a character in my childhood. I'm an only child, so I had more time and space to myself than maybe other children who've got siblings and so on. Reading was a wonderful inspiration and outlet for me with my sort of imagination and so on. And there's an author called Richmal Crompton, and he wrote about a boy called William, and all the books were called like Just William, William the Conqueror, William this, William that. And it's just a typical boy of about, I don't know, 9 or 10, always into adventures, always into scrapes that upset adults and his mum and dad, but he's a bit of a lovable rogue, and he can always get away with it. And it's something that's all stayed with me, that he had a sense of humour, and that's something that I've been told by many people I do have as well. I tried to express it in my writing as well. And I realised that a lot of it came from reading books as a child and seeing how they could use, if you like, humour to diffuse a situation, or get somebody who's very angry to then be laughing with them, and they get out the situation. Okay, so I guess it would be the William. William is his name. Can't think what his. I'm not sure if he even had a surname, but yeah, they were great fun reading those. Yeah. Okay. Well, I was born in Brighton, which is on the south coast of England. It's a lovely city, beautiful. It has these hills to the north and the sea to the south. Something I've always lived with is being by the sea. I love it. There, I'd recommend they should go to a particular Italian restaurant called Al Duemo's. Does wonderful food, has been there for many, many years, right next to the Royal Pavilion, which is you'd have to look it up online to see a picture of it. It's just like an Indian building, but in the UK. And in terms of where I would suggest you go to see, just along the coast is something called the Seven Sisters, which is basically 7 cliffs that are like the White Cliffs of Dover, if you are familiar with that at all. But it's a beautiful walk. It's something that I have done many a time. I find it inspiring just looking at it. So I would say to somebody, come to Brighton, have a great time, just go along the coast a little bit and have some lovely fresh air, sea views and some exercise.